Nebraska recruiting has been exploding this week, and folks, we are just getting started. There's been a bunch of big Husker news that's dropped over the past 24 to 40 hours. So in today's video, I'm going to go over all of it. I recently learned a brand new nugget on four-star defensive tackle Sone, when you can specifically expect a commitment, whether or not it's going to be to Nebraska, and everything else you need to know. And speaking of commitments, one of the Huskers' biggest targets announces today he's down to Nebraska and Iowa. I'm going to give you the inside scoop there. I'm going to give you my reaction to Devin Jackson committing yesterday, whether or not the Huskers can flip him, a couple other prospects to run flip status, some of Nebraska's biggest targets who are committing next week, a four-star linebacker and a four-star edge rusher, a four-star corner who I have my eyes out for the Huskers could flip, and I'll give you an update around the 2027 class that you're going to want to see a couple big-time prospects visiting in the fall. And also, the transfer portal opens up tomorrow. Bet you didn't know that. A couple Huskers could be on the move in Nebraska, could be targeting a couple of guys. I'll give you a status check around that. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the new college football video game, how they disrespect Nebraska in Big Ten Media Days that are coming up very soon. So, this is a jam-packed video. You're going to want to watch the entire thing because it is nuts. Hey, happy 4th of July. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You're having a good day because I know I am. Hit that like button. Also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Join this family over 12,000 strong for daily content talking about your favorite team. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Talking about recruiting, talking about everything related to Nebraska. Let's just get things started with what happened yesterday. Nebraska's number one safety target in the class of 2026, Devin Jackson, committed to Oregon. So not too much of a surprise after all the crystal balls rolled in. It's pretty much a done deal. We know that the second that Devin Jackson or any prospect, they request a commitment edit from Hayes Fawcett immediately leaks the commitment to Steve Wiltfong and all the On3 insiders, and then they put in their crystal balls. So the second those crystal balls come in, it's pretty much wrapped. So we knew that Devin Jackson was coming to Oregon for about a week now. Again, this was an unfortunate miss for Nebraska. I think that Devin Jackson honestly made a poor decision. The price tag was obviously in favor of Oregon, but what's more important is getting to the NFL and playing immediately, and that could have happened at Nebraska. Oregon is a very successful program. They're going to be in competition to win national championships, but Devin Jackson's probably not going to see the field. They have a bunch of five-star safeties, five-star corners, so I don't think he made a good decision. Nebraska, they put a lot of time, effort into flipping him from Florida. He ended up decommitting from Florida, and now he commits to Oregon, so I don't think he's going to flip again. I think he's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered, and he's going to be an Oregon Duck. So unfortunate miss there for Nebraska. They wanted him very badly. Now our corner class and safety class kind of has some concerns with only one commit, that being Danny Odom. Hopefully that can change later today with Darian Jones committing. Now, of course, you guys already know how I feel about Darian Jones. This is somebody who, in my opinion, is a four-star prospect, number one player in Nebraska, in my opinion. And the Huskers, they should have offered him sooner. They offered him just a couple months ago, again, down in Nebraska and Iowa. Nebraska, they have the family connection with, of course, his brother Donovan playing on our team. But Iowa, they grew up to be his favorite team, right? He grew up to be a big Hawkeyes fan, and that's really tough to say no to. And for that reason, it looks like Darian Jones will be coming to Iowa today. Again, there's 8 crystal balls, and that tells you everything you need to know. I don't think I've ever seen this many crystal balls in for one prospect. So, again, it's pretty much a done deal. Darian Jones, signed, sealed, delivered. He will be an Iowa Hawkeye as well. Big miss for Nebraska. Really big miss. They wanted him badly as well as Devin Jackson. So again, this corner class starting to have a little bit concerns. We feel good about the offense now. We feel good about the wide receiver position now. But the DBs and the D-line specifically, a lot of questions there still. Hopefully Nebraska can flip a couple guys. But as for these two, Devin Jackson, Darian Jones, don't get your hopes up. Those two will probably not flip away from the schools they're about to be committed to. So just want to give you that update there. Sone heard a little bit of a nugget there, and I told you guys 2 days ago that I expect Nebraska to land him. He's going to be committing very soon per his agent. There's a lot of things moving behind the scenes. The NIL is really ramping up. It's becoming more of a bidding war than ever before. Expect something within the next 2 weeks, but from what I heard, next week, really anytime from Monday to Friday is when you can expect an announcement from Sone. As for the crystal balls, anytime. We could see crystal ball drop today, tomorrow. I think it's going to be to Nebraska. I really do, because we know that the NIL's on their side. They're more aggressive for Sone than any other team in this market. They want him badly. They're the only school that's without a defensive line commit. They want Sone super, super bad. They're willing to do whatever it takes money-wise. So money's not going to be a concern here. It's just about Sone and how much he values winning. And honestly, it's tough to say no to Georgia, who competes for national titles every year. It's tough. So Georgia's really the one school I'm looking out for, despite the fact they already have 6 defensive line commits. Heard some good things around Florida. He really likes Florida's program. He said that Florida reminds him of home a lot. So that's a little bit of a problem, but I still think it's going to be Nebraska here, because that family relationship that we built up in the NIL is going to be very big. He's a guy who, it's all about his agency. The agency cares about money. Nebraska, they understand that, and they say, you know what? You don't got to worry about money if you come to Nebraska, so we're going to get you right. So feel good about Sone, but again, I heard from a source that's probably going to be next week from Monday to Friday. So just watch out for that. Again, things are going to happen sooner rather than later. Nebraska's pushing it for a commitment, but just know the NIL is good in our favor, and I'm expecting Huskers to land him. A couple other things I want to get to. Again, Calvin Thomas, there was some murmurs that he was going to move up his commitment day. He's announcing on July 12th. There were some murmurs it was maybe going to happen this weekend, maybe even today. It looks like he's going to wait until July 12th, which is, I believe, week from tomorrow, to actually announce. So again, he's not going to move this up at all. And honestly, the reason why is because he's still holding out hope that Texas is going to have room for him. Again, I told you guys multiple times, like, he likes Nebraska, but we're his second choice. He grew up to be a Texas fan. He always wanted to stay home. He wants to go to Texas. Texas just doesn't really want him because they're going after some bigger fish in this class. To Texas, the lower 4 stars aren't really as admirable to us. To us, those are great commits, but to Texas, they want 5 stars, right? Hopefully, we can get there at some point in time. But Texas, they only want about 2 middle linebackers in this class. They're going after a couple 5 stars there, so Calvin Thomas just isn't high on the pecking order. So Calvin Thomas is waiting to see if, okay, maybe Texas will take me, but looks like he will commit to Nebraska, but he's just holding out hope maybe Texas can end up getting him. So that's we're not in the best situation, to be honest with you. We're kind of the second choice here at the prom, but hopefully we can still land his commitment on July 12th. I'm feeling good about it. Again, that's interesting, though. This is not something that happens a lot. Not something that happens a lot, but wanted to give you that status check. Javion Cooper, somebody I get questioned about, so he's somebody that Nebraska, honestly, the staff felt really good about potentially flipping him after his visit. Now, a lot of people have been texting me whether or not we're still going to flip Javion Cooper. We know we already have 4 offensive line commits, and my answer is no. It looks like Javion Cooper's out of it. We're not really recruiting him anymore. It was kind of a weird visit, but I think we honestly gave Javion Cooper an ultimatum. We said, hey, you got to commit now or else we're not going to take you. I think that's really what we gave him. We did the same thing with Leon Noyle, and Leon Noyle said, you know what, I'm going to commit now. I'm going to move up my commitment, and Javion Cooper said, no, I'm going to stick with Syracuse. So it looks like he's going to stick with Syracuse or maybe go over to Colorado, but that sucks. Nebraska really liked him, but again, we're full. We have 4 offensive linemen, and that's not going to change unless somebody decommits, which I don't anticipate happening. Then I want to give you a check around Cameron Hamel. So we just talked about the corner struggling a little bit. This is somebody who, if I was Addison Williams, if I was John Butler, if I was Matt Rule, this is the first guy I'm contacting right now trying to flip, because Nebraska, they were doing a good job recruiting Cameron Hamel up until June, where he visited Texas A&M, and they kind of pushed him to commit early, so he didn't end up taking his official visit to Nebraska. But if I'm Nebraska's coaching staff, I'm trying to get this guy on a visit this fall, try to flip him away. We know that Texas A&M, they already have pretty much 2 borderline 5-star corners, and Brandon Arrington, who Nebraska at one point wanted not too long ago, and then Victor Singleton. So listen, Texas A&M, they're stacked at corner. Cameron Hamel would be our guy alongside Danny Odom. I feel like we could potentially flip him there, but this is a guy who he already has a lot of money at Texas A&M. Just know that, since it's going to be kind of hard to get him unless we want to offer him a lot of cash. So just want to give you that stat check there. Cameron Wilson, somebody who, once again, we learned some more nuggets. He will be visiting Nebraska this fall. I expect it to be for that Michigan game, which is going to be Nebraska's premier weekend. So Nebraska, they got to go out. They got to win that football game for a million reasons, but Cameron Wilson pretty much all but confirmed that he'll be visiting this week, this season. So somebody who Nebraska, they're going to try to flip until signing day. Jordan Campbell, once again, same deal there. It kind of depends on if Calvin Thomas commits. Like, if Calvin Thomas commits, we might not end up getting Jordan Campbell. We might not end up getting him on a visit, but just expect Jordan Campbell. Although he said a couple weeks ago that he's 100% locked in with Miami, that's not been the case behind the scenes. He's still probably going to visit Nebraska this fall for the season. And then also, let's go to the 2027 class real quick. We know that the 2027 class, it's going to be generational. If Nebraska can win 10 games, win 9 games, they could have a top 10 class, get multiple 5 stars. Jerry Outhouse is somebody who's a top 100 prospect in the 27 class. Nebraska just made his top 15 yesterday, which I find ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that recruits announce their top 15s, top 10s, top 8s. Like, I don't care about all that. If you release your top 4, okay, that means something to me. But top 15, okay, what are we doing here? But the reason why I mentioned this in the video is because it was reported that he wants to visit Nebraska this fall, that they're probably one of the premier teams. If he had a top 3 right now, Nebraska would probably make that list. So Nebraska, while the 26 class, still have some questions. The 27 class looks pretty good, but we just got to win on the football field, and it'll take care of itself. But again, speaking of Jerry Outhouse, somebody to watch out for. There's a bunch of, Torrey Pittman, obviously. Nebraska's hoping they can get that done by the end of the summer. This secondary class could be very good in that class, maybe not in 26. Then a couple other things I want to get to. The portal is opening up. Okay, I said tomorrow. It's July 7th, so that's in 3 days. So the transfer portal opens up in 3 days. I thought it was tomorrow, but I guess it's in 3 days. So that's gonna be on Monday. And anyways, transfer portal is opening back up. Basically, the rules behind this, it's a one-time thing. Usually the portal's not open in the summer, but it's basically for a designated student athlete. So meaning if you get cut from a football team, if Nebraska cuts a couple of players, then those guys can enter the portal. But there's some loopholes around this. So let's say, I'm just going to make an example. Let's say I'm Connor Booth, and this is never going to happen in a million years, but I just want to use his name as an example. I'm Connor Booth, and I go up to Matt Roll and say, hey, Matt, I don't want to play here anymore. I don't want to enter the portal. And Matt says, well, you can't really enter the portal. We're not cutting you. Connor says, I refuse to play. Put me on the designated student list so I can enter the portal. Matt says, you know what, I'm going to do what's in your best favor, and I'm going to enter you in the portal. So basically, there are some loopholes here. A player can leave even if they're not cut. And I just use Connor Booth as an example because Connor Booth's never going to leave. He's a Nebraska kid. But listen, just know that Nebraska guys could leave if they really wanted to, if they kind of forced their way out. And also, it should be noted that can happen in other programs around the country. So you could see some decent running backs leave, which I'm specifically looking at that running back position because we know that Nebraska potentially wants some. So just know that July 7th, there's going to be some names who enter the portal up again, probably some decent names. Would not be shocked if Nebraska snooping around looking for a running back who can come in here, potentially provide some good snaps. So that should be mentioned. And then, of course, Big Ten Media Days was announced that we have 3 players, actually 4 players in attendance. We have Dylan Raiola, Henry Lateef, Deshaun Singleton, and Marcus Buford will also be there, I think, as a media correspondent or something. So the reason why this is interesting to me is this basically kind of previews the staff's best 3 players. They kind of always do this. They pick the best 3. The best 3 talent-wise and the best 3 from a leadership standpoint. They obviously believe that Dylan's one of the best players on this team. That should be the case. They believe that Deshaun Singleton's the best player on defense, and I told you guys that. Like, Deshaun Singleton's going to be special this year. He is the best player on this defense. It isn't close. And then what's interesting was Henry Lateef. I kind of wasn't expecting that. They usually don't like to do transfers, so it's not shocking they didn't pick Rocco Spindler or anything, but Henry Lateef is somebody they're very high on. He was out all the spring ball, but he really came along at the end of last year, so hopefully he can be solid this year. He's going to be likely our starting left guard. So just watch out for that. I thought Jacory Barney might go. If I were them, I would have picked Jacory just because Jacory, in my opinion, is the best player on this offense. But it is what it is. Pretty good guys who are going in attendance there. And again, that's only, 3 weeks? It's crazy, man. The summer's just flying by. So we'll obviously react to that here on the channel. And the last but not least, I kind of want to show you this while I talk about the new video game that dropped. They recently released their top 100 players in college football 26. By the way, this is our entrance in that game if you want to see that. And Nebraska did not have a single player who was listed in the top 100. So I think our highest rated player in the game, I want to say, can't remember. I think it was Sear Wright. I think Sear Wright was 88. Dylan, we know, was at 87. Emmett Johnson was around 87. Dane Key was around there. So I think our highest rated players around 88, 87. Sear Wright, kind of a 4-way tie. So the video game kind of disrespected us a little bit. It is what it is. Just got to prove it on the football field. But I wanted to show you guys this little entrance because I thought it was cool. I posted that on Twitter. All right, guys, that's everything going on with Nebraska football. We're getting to the dog days of summer, but guess what? It's 4th of July, so there's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about, and also a lot to be thankful of. So let me know how you're celebrating your 4th of July. I know that I'm going to be having a good time lighting off fireworks, eating a bunch of hot dogs. So let me know in the comment section. Hey, just have a good day, everybody. Hit that like button and subscribe if you made it this far. So always, folks, go be good, go Met Roll, and I'll see you in the next one.